In this video, I am gonna show you what I eat for an entire week on a carnivore diet. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, and for those of you that are new, my husband Chris and I started a carnivore diet about 8 years ago, and we each lost over 100 pounds the first year, and we've spent the last 7 years or so trying to keep it off. I like to just walk you through and show you a realistic what I eat video every time. So just for some context, I tend to eat breakfast and lunch. I don't eat dinner. I don't sleep well if I eat late at night, but I eat 2 meals a day most of the time. And so I travel a lot for my job. We eat at home a lot. I just like to show you breakfast, lunch, and give you some context of like what you could eat on a carnivore diet if you are a normal person. Typically, I'm maintaining my weight, but it's January 1st, we're coming off the holidays, and I probably ate a little more than I should have. So I'm gonna be focusing on keeping things really clean, and I likely will lose a few pounds over the course of this week. And in true LAURASPATH fashion, we're off to a great start. Okay, take 2. I am eating my very typical breakfast that I have probably 70% of the time, and that is just 3 scrambled eggs, and then I take some bacon crumbles and mix in it and some shredded cheese. You obviously could shred your own cheese and do fresh bacon if you wanted it to be a little cleaner, but when I need a very quick 5-minute breakfast, this is my most realistic daily option. During my initial 100-pound weight loss, for the most part, I was eating 1 meal a day. And that worked really well for us in the beginning. That worked really well for us in the beginning because I was just used to eating so much volume. I was somebody who, at my heaviest, was eating like a whole pizza and a pint of ice cream in one sitting. And so being on a carnivore diet, like I started with 2 meals and then I went down to 1 big meal in the middle of the day. And that worked really well because I could just eat until I was totally stuffed, and then I was satisfied the rest of the day, and I didn't have to, worry about overeating when I ate a second meal. However, over time, I found that my appetite started to diminish, which is pretty common, and I continued to do that 1 meal a day, probably for too long, because then at some point I just started under eating. And, eventually even if you're under eating, your weight loss is gonna stall, but I was having some hair loss, and I just was like really under eating in general. And so for the last several years, I have been eating 2 meals a day, and I find that that works best for me. I was eating lunch and dinner for maybe 6 months to a year, something like that, just trying to force 2 meals a day. But I just found that eating late at night, our evenings are hectic. I got kids in jujitsu and we're kind of all on the go. That eating late at night, I just wasn't sleeping as well from having eating a big meal in the evenings. And so I've found that if I do breakfast, even if it's not early in the morning, like I work from home if I'm not traveling, so I'll do breakfast around 10 or 9 or 10, and then we'll have a big sit-down family lunch together. Then I find that I'm just not hungry in the evenings and I sleep so much better. But really, when and how your meals are has to work best for you and your schedule, so you can play around with that. Okay, so I just heated up my little pre-cooked bacon crumbles, so then I have a little bit of bacon grease left in my pan. I'm gonna add a little bit of butter, and then I'll cook up my eggs. I'm gonna add a little salt, and then when my eggs are almost done cooking, I just add a little sprinkle of the shredded cheese. I just do a little bit on top, so I'm not eating too much cheese. And then right at the very end, I'll add my bacon crumbles back in. There we go. And I can tell by watching my recording, this entire breakfast took me 4 minutes and 10 seconds to make. So here you go, 4-minute breakfast. Happy New Year. Okay, it's almost lunchtime and I've been doing a bunch of prep today. I took all the Christmas decorations down yesterday, and today I have been doing a lot of food prep just to have us quick, easy meals for the rest of the month. I made a huge like triple batch of my bacon cheeseburger meatballs. And so I'm just going to warm a bunch of those up today for lunch for all of us. And then we had a bunch of company here over Christmas. And one of the things that I had on hand was some pre-made chicken salad. That way non-carnivores can just like add stuff to it and then the carnivores could eat it. So I'm gonna have this leftover pre-made chicken salad and the meatballs with some like pork rind scoops. This comes from our local butcher. Obviously it's gonna be cleaner if you make your own chicken salad. I'm sure the mayo in here is like totally toxic, but I did check with them and I know they don't add sugar to it. I have a recipe on this channel for like a loaded chicken salad that's really delicious. And then you can use bacon mayo or avocado mayo and it'll be a lot cleaner. So do what works for you. That's my lunch today. Breakfast today is earlier than normal. Normally my routine is to get up and have my electrolytes. And then lately I've been walking for like 1 or 2 hours on my walking pad while I work in the mornings on days I work from home. And I'm really proud of my consistency around exercise. However, I hurt my foot putting the Christmas decorations away and I just have not, it's like, I can't walk the same way, but I'm kind of like half going back to work today. I just don't want to like walk into Monday being super overwhelmed. And so I'm going to try to take care of the things that I've been procrastinating today, but we'll see if I can get it done. I am starting with my electrolytes. I'm doing a packet of the unflavored element in my water, and then I will have that while I get some work done. I also really love the lemonade salt electrolytes. It's just like, these are science-backed electrolytes. Their formula of the sodium, magnesium, potassium is the perfect ratio for me and for like most of the carnivores that I know. We need a lot of sodium if you're not having carbs in order to keep you hydrated. And this is like the perfect amount of sodium. And on top of that, I'm still gonna eat bacon. I salt my food. Like our bodies require a lot more sodium when we're not consuming carbs in order to stay hydrated. And I've actually been really loving the half cans, the like mini cans. And I've been having an extra one of those in the afternoon. These are equivalent to like half a packet. And so if I want a little afternoon pick-me-up, then I'm adding this little can of sparkling element for a little extra electrolyte boost as I'm fasting in the afternoon. If you want to get a free sample pack with any purchase, you can go to drinkelement.com/LauraSpath and they have a deal for all my subscribers where with any purchase, like try the lemonade salt, you can get a free sample pack that's going to have 8 free packets in it and you can see which one you like best. So thanks to Element for sponsoring this video. Okay, I'm gonna finish my electrolytes. Chris got up really early. He always goes to the gym super early in the morning. He came home and made me some bacon. And so I'm gonna have half of this pound of bacon. I don't like eating like right away. So I'm gonna finish my electrolytes and then I'm gonna have half a pound of bacon and the kids will split the other half for breakfast. And then for lunch, we're gonna do a little bit fancier lunch today. It's my mom's last full day here. She flies home tomorrow, but like late afternoon. And so we're still in kind of like holiday mode. So we are gonna slice up. We bought this full ribeye primal from Costco and it was $50 off before New Year's Eve. So anytime that happens, we try to stock up. And so we grabbed it. We're gonna cut this into ribeye steaks. Chris likes to cut them nice and thick for us. And then we're actually gonna cut one of these like super thick ribeyes in half. And my mom and Penelope and I are all gonna split that. And then we're gonna add some shrimp to it. We'll put a little garlic butter on top. And then as a special treat, you know, like anytime we're in like holiday mode or it's a special meal, we're gonna add a bit of this fried Gardners Wisconsin cheese. I just cut it into cubes and then I fry it in a pan in a little bit of butter. And it's this gooey, melty, perfect addition to any meal when you want like something fancy. For the steaks, we are going to be Chris likes anything spicy. This is why he needs his own steak because we don't want to be spicy. And I've been trying some new seasonings lately. I know actually, I think I'm late to the game on these, but most of you guys have been using the Salty Provision seasonings. I was at my friend Ashley's house and she had all of these seasonings that I got to try. And so, you know, I had to like stock up after that. So he is going to season his steak with this like super hot blend. And then I am obsessed, I think, like I said, I'm the last one to know about it, with this butter salt. It's literally just salt, with a little bit of butter powder mixed in it. And it's perfect on eggs. It's so good on steaks. We're gonna put it on the shrimp. I love a good like flaky salt as a finishing on top of my freshly grilled steak. So we're going a little fancy today, but it's still a special occasion around here. Okay, let's see if I can get motivated enough to get some work done today. Today is my mom's last day here after being with us for the last few weeks for the holidays. And we're gonna go out to lunch later today at one of her favorite places. And I know it's gonna be a little bit later than normal, so I'm gonna have a little bit maybe bigger breakfast than normal. We did hamburgers and hot dogs one day when we had like a whole bunch of company. And so we have 3 hot dogs left in this package that are still opened. And so that's my breakfast. I'm gonna have 3 hot dogs. I'm just gonna throw them in the air fryer. And that's it. It's gonna be nice and simple. You could add, I don't like mustard, but you could add mustard or a 0 sugar sauce to them if you wanted to, but I just like them plain. So that's my breakfast. And then like I mentioned, my mom and the kids and I are all gonna go out to lunch today to one of our favorite places. We actually went here Christmas Eve also, but it is a Greek restaurant where they will sell you just the kebabs. So chicken, beef, or shrimp, and we just order a pile of kebabs, and then I get a little side of feta cheese and a side of tzatziki, and that's our meal. It's just so perfect. It's so different. I've been obsessed with it lately. So it's one of my go-to eat outs is just look for a Greek restaurant in your area and see if they will sell you the kebabs a la carte. Today is Sunday and we always go to the early service for church. So I'm gonna take some breakfast to go with me. My mom has been making this protein tea for the last couple of weeks while she's here. She always has this at home also, but I figured it was a good thing for me to have for breakfast today. So you could do this with coffee. I know a lot of people do this with coffee. We are just not coffee drinkers in this house. So I have a bag of organic chai tea, so there's no sugar or anything in it. It's tea, and then I'm gonna put in some hot water, a scoop of the Prime protein powder, and then my mom also puts a scoop of the unflavored collagen in it. So you get 21 grams of protein from the Equip protein, and then you get another 10 grams of protein from the collagen, which gives her, great for her especially, or for me if I want something quick in the morning. It gives me 30 grams of protein in the morning, and then I will just mix it with water, the tea, and then we'll add a splash of heavy cream to it. This is especially helpful if you're just not hungry in the mornings or you find yourself under eating throughout the day. This is a great way of like not feeling like you're eating a heavy breakfast, but you're starting the day with a good amount of protein. My mom took home the rest of the bag of collagen, so I don't have any more of that this morning. So I'm just gonna do the protein and then I'm gonna order more of that to have on hand. They also have an unflavored version, which is like totally 100% carnivore. It's like a beef isolate protein, not a whey protein. So if you have any like dairy issues, then you can use this as well. This is the same protein that we use to make our protein pancakes also. So I'm just gonna give this a good froth. We're making a big one today. You could do whatever size you want. Of course. And I have a creamy protein-filled chai latte. We're gonna go to church and then come home and have some steaks for lunch. Okay, I'm in my Sunday cozy clothes for the rest of the day, and this is always our like favorite family meal throughout the week. So we're gonna do a couple more of those ribeyes that we cut a couple days ago. Penelope and I are gonna split one, and then Chris will eat an entire one all by himself. And then I also grabbed at Costco one of those really big pork loins because they were $8 off. And so I'm gonna break that down and we will have pork on the side. Nathaniel's gonna eat the pork as well, but we'll do some Parmesan pork skewers. I have a video showing how I break down this whole pork loin. So if you're intimidated by it or you don't know like what to do with it, I'll link that other video down below for you. Okay, let me catch you up a little bit. Remember on Friday when I said I was going to knock a bunch of stuff out and be really proactive to start my Monday? Not overwhelmed? Yeah, I didn't do that. Never works out that way. It's too easy to procrastinate. So yesterday was crazy. It was like the first day everybody came back from the holidays. This is also just like January is my busy season in my corporate job. Like we have a bunch of conferences at the end of January and February that my team does a lot of planning for. And so busy week. I'm actually flying out this afternoon to go on a trip to kind of like prep for that conference that's at the end of the month. So I had all good intentions of like eating very specific meals yesterday and none of it happened. I ate leftovers and scrounged all day, which is, I guess, very realistic because sometimes that happens. So I kept thinking I was gonna like take a break and make a meal, and I just never got around to it. So I ended up grabbing a cold pork chop at one point and just went back to my desk and ate it like a protein bar. So there you go. You need a protein bar on carnivore, have some meat cooked ahead, and just eat a cold pork chop. And then later in the day, I, took a break and then I made myself some meatballs from the air fryer or in the air fryer. And those are those meatballs that we prepped last week. This is why I did that. I just opened a package, threw them in the air fryer and went back to work until they were done 10 minutes later. We also had some, there was 8 shrimp in a Ziploc bag that were left over from when we had steak and shrimp the other day. So overall, I underate probably, but we made it work. Sometimes you're just eating leftovers and it's just how it works. So overall, I didn't share anything from yesterday. It ended up being just like a bunch of leftovers and cold meat from the fridge. But that just goes to show though, if you prep ahead of time and have a couple of things you can grab, then having those days when you just don't have time to eat or you're on the go constantly, like you can still make it work if you plan ahead. So that's the biggest thing. You gotta know, like we all would love a fresh grilled steak every day. It's not gonna happen. It doesn't work for our budget and it's not gonna work for our schedule sometimes. So have a backup plan. Like what is your backup plan if you don't have something? Obviously, like I'm very lucky and Chris would have cooked me something if I needed him to, but I kind of, half of me was like, maybe I'll fast. And then I ended up getting hungry and luckily I had some stuff already on hand that I could eat. Today I am starting breakfast kind of early. I want to eat something now so then my flight's not until like 4 o'clock tonight. So I want to make sure that I can eat a good lunch before I go to the airport. And then that way I am not hungry while I'm traveling. Like how easy is it to travel when you don't have to eat? I don't have to wait in those long lines. I don't have to pay $1 million for, airport food. So I am going to have my normal breakfast right now of 3 scrambled eggs, some bacon, and a little bit of shredded cheese. And then today for lunch, I'm gonna have one of my go-to meals that I have at least once, if not twice a week. My kids eat it all the time, and that is a taco bowl. And normally I just use ground beef, or in today's case, I'm gonna thaw some ground bison that I have from Rebel Pastures. This is gonna be the perfect thing for that. And I just eat like a pound of ground beef. We're gonna put a little more shredded cheese on top. I do a little taco seasonings. You could, I make my own sometimes, or you can find something packaged. You just gotta be aware of like some of the ingredients in that. And then I'm gonna put a little sour cream on top. And especially if I just am eating by myself or it's the kids and I and Chris is not gonna be grilling, that is one of our favorite meals. The kids will eat theirs with masa chips, which are these seed oil free chips. They're chips that are, they're obviously not low carb or carnivore, but they are fried in beef tallow. So my kids do have some carbs. We just try to make sure that it's whole foods and that there's no seed oils. And then I obviously don't want those carbs. And so I am going to use those same pork rinds that I used on my chicken salad earlier in the week. And we're gonna make myself like some nachos and sit there and scoop up my taco meat with some pork rinds. And then I'm gonna go to the airport. I will be traveling through the end of the week. However, I'm just gonna like finish this as a week. So I'll finish this video and take you on like my first full day of eating while I'm traveling, and explain to you like what my go-to meals are when I'm traveling. So make sure you stick around. I'm in the drive-through line. I'll give you a little recap. So I flew yesterday afternoon and evening and kind of got settled into the hotel. The first thing I do when I stop in a city, especially if I have a car, is I stop at a grocery store and I just grab a few things. Sometimes I'll grab a little cheese or something like that. And I usually end up grabbing like drinks. I went to Target because they have those sparkling element cans and I wanted those on hand for the next couple of days. But you save so much time and money not trying to find food in the airport. So that was good. Today I knew I was going to be in the office. I knew I have a car, so like I am way less over prepared when I know that I can have a vehicle and be in control of my own food. I'm in the office today and we're having like all day meetings. They catered breakfast and lunch, but I like to not rely on that when I don't have to. So lunch, they catered like breakfast tacos. I could have just eaten the inside of the tacos, but just wasn't in the mood for that today. And then lunch, they catered barbecue. So they had brisket and turkey, which all of that would have been great. There just was a lot of people and I didn't want to like commandeer all the meat. Plus sometimes like barbecue doesn't sit well with my stomach. So I always bring a bag of carnivore snacks with me when I travel. So I know that that's like 1 or 2 meals. Depending on how much you eat in one sitting, it's a couple of meals for me. The office that I'm in, they try to have like healthy snacks. So there's a lot of like protein bars and like better options of snacks. The good news is in this office, they have like meat sticks and they have tons of different cheese options. So I had my carnivore snacks this morning, like I think it was like 10:30. I had part of my carnivore snacks. I had the skirt steak today, which I loved. I think that's my favorite one. It's like the perfect ratio of fat and meat for me, and it's just meat and salt. So that's perfect. I had a couple things of string cheese with it, and then I also had a can of the sparkling element that I bought at Target yesterday. And then I just visited with everybody else while they were eating the normal lunch, and people were kind of coming and going, so nobody really noticed or cared that I wasn't eating. And then right now it's 2:30, and I just looked at the clock. I had a little break in my meetings and realized if I don't eat now, it's gonna be like 5, 6 o'clock before I get a chance to eat again. And I don't like eating that late, and I just know I'm not gonna sleep well. So I ran out and I'm grabbing some burger patties right now for lunch. My go-tos when I travel is always burger patties or Buffalo Wild Wings. So Buffalo Wild Wings fries their wings in beef tallow, and their burger patties are underrated. Like they'll sell you their burger patties a la carte, and they're so good. So typically if I'm like really hungry, I'll get wings and burger patties, and that's like a go-to meal for me because Buffalo Wild Wings is everywhere and I know they don't use seed oils. I'm not that hungry because I've already eaten some today, and I didn't want to risk like eating wings in the car and getting wings and grease on my white sweater. So I opted for burger patties, but that's it. So today is day 7. I've taken you through a full day of eating. I already know that tomorrow is Thursday. I'm going to still be here. So I'll probably have the rest of my carnivore snacks and I'll eat In-N-Out or Buffalo Wild Wings again tomorrow. So that's the same. I got to pay in a second. And then Friday I fly home in the morning, and I'll just wait until I get home and have a steak for lunch. So there you go. Okay, I got my burgers. This was a little bit easier trip for me overall. Like I mentioned, I just didn't have to plan a ton because I knew I was going to have a car and like be able to kind of make my own schedule with meals. Sometimes I go to these conferences, like I'm at a conference at the end of January, I'm gonna have no vehicle, everything is catered. And so I will bring and prepare like way more food. I have a lot of videos that show you kind of how I do that. Oh my gosh, this is so good. If you watch a lot of my videos, there probably was nothing like super brand new in here, but it just kind of goes to show that you can alternate through like the same handful of meals and you can still get a lot of variety and you can still be flexible and adaptable. And like, that's all I hope to show you is like how you can stay carnivore in most circumstances. And really it's like, just remember, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. That's where you're going to find the biggest health benefits, the best long-term weight loss, and just overall how you're going to find what works for you. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos. Hang on.